Today, I'm speaking to the man Ebony Magazine called one of the 100 top African-American influencers of our time. Variety Magazine called him the top 10 producers to watch, Mr. Devon Franklin. Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I am wonderful. Today, we're talking about your new book. It's coming out today, so I'm excited. In bookstores everywhere, of course, on Amazon. It is not your first book, but it is your new book. Live free,
Right.
exceed your highest expectations. So this is the title is very filling, I'll say. Because live free,
I love it.
just those two words, live free. I think that's what we're all after. We're all after freedom. We're all after peace. It's kind of a lifelong journey to find that. So just in those two words, I feel like this book is going to be full of things that are going to help us kind of unpack, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. I mean, just in that idea, live free, like, whoa, there's so much that comes up, I'm sure, for everybody that hears it. And so it is a lifelong journey, but it starts now if we choose it. That's the thing. It's like a lot of us are not living the life of our choice. We're living the life that others have chosen for us. It could be our parents, it could be our family, it could be our spouse, whoever the other person is. Sometimes we're giving people the power to choose the life for us instead of us taking that power back. So this whole book is about how to live free, in doing so by setting the expectations that you live by, that we live by.
And you talked about in your book, software reprogramming. And when I saw the title of the book, I was like, oh, he's talking about us being addicted to social media. That was my first thought. I was like, he's talking about social media and our, need to have it. And then as I began to kind of delve through the pages, I said, oh my God, I feel attacked. No, he's talking about the kind of reliving your childhood with you as I read about your need to figure out who you were and then finding that thing that you were good at. So then you kept, kind of being that person because you thought that was who you were supposed to be. And now as a grown up, you still embody those things. And it resonated with me because I was like, oh, this is me too.
Wow.
Different things that I had gone through as a child, I find myself still needing the acceptance or fear of abandonment. And just that chapter right there, I think so many people are going to be enlightened by that. Tell us more about what you think. I mean, of course, we all know that things from our childhood can attribute to who we are as adults. But what does it look like to unpack that? And how do we reprogram ourselves?
Yeah, I talk about in the book, that expectations are the secret software that run our life, meaning we don't actually react to the events of life. We're reacting to our expectation of those events. We don't react to people. We react to our expectations of people. We don't even always react to ourselves. We react to our expectation of ourselves. And that was the part, I talk about also in the book about, when I was younger and losing my father and started to find so much of my identity through achievement in school and, being on the honor roll and getting good grades and playing basketball and being a student council. And so I carried that whole idea of achievement based identity all the way into my career. And as I started to do that, I started to realize, once I got deep into my career, I said, oh, I'm not really happy. Why? Because I am not actually living. I am performing for the applause, for the approval, because I actually don't approve of myself. Why? Because my expectations for myself are so high, I can never be satisfied. Wow. And so I had to get to the point where I said, okay, what's the path here? Why am I so disappointed? Oh, God, it's expectations. I'm putting too much on myself because I've made this persona, this achievement-based persona. And if Devon's not achieving, then Devon is not being. And that was a toxic idea that I had to kill. And I continuously work on it because I had to get to the place where I accepted myself for who I am, having nothing to do with what I do. And that expectation of just being okay, being all right, being me, and not worrying about how people think of me. That's a process that I had to work through. I'm still working through it. But it's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, because so many of us struggle in that area.
And this book came about during the pandemic. So
yeah.
Was it therapeutic for you? I noticed when the pandemic first started, I, like you, were looking for something to help me stay grounded, to keep my mind busy so that I didn't like lose it, right? So I started this thing called the 316 prayer, and I began praying every day at 316 on social media. And then I was like, wait, Devon Franklin is praying every day on social media. So there was like there was like a group of us doing this whole prayer thing on social media. And now I see that you were also writing a book. So was this like a therapeutic way for you to get through the pandemic? I mean, there is a word in here, and this will help people, of course. But was this also something that helped you during that time?
Oh, I mean, big time. See, I had I had sold the book before the pandemic, right? Like, I think I sold it November or December before the pandemic. And so, it just so happened that I was writing it during the pandemic, and it really helped in that, we were dealing with an unexpected time. So I already had the message about expectations, and then dealing in, literally like the most unexpected time in our history, in our generation. So that really did help me. It was very cathartic, and it also helped me put in perspective, what we're really going through. So the book, if anyone who reads it, it really is a manual for our time, and it's a manual for how to navigate the unexpected, because things are going to happen in our life. We know it. But how do we start to practice taking more control over how we feel, how we think, and how we live, so that no matter what happens, we still have a practice that helps us, succeed no matter what's going on in the world.
Live free, exceed your highest expectations. You talk about four main areas of your life where expectations come into play: personal, cultural, relational, and professional. Which one of these four do you think is the hardest to tackle?
I'm going to say the relational, because, when I talk about expectations, one of the things in order to set your expectations that you got to ask two questions. One, is it realistic or unrealistic? How do you know? Is it in your control? If it's in your control to do it, then I argue it's a realistic expectation. Number two, is the expectation spoken or unspoken? Meaning, does it need to be communicated? And this is why the relational part is so hard, because we try to spend so much of our energy trying to control people that we don't control, and expecting things out of them that we never communicated. And this is why relationships don't work. This is why friendships, end up breaking up. This is why certain family members get in fights. Why? Because we sometimes find ourselves trying to control others' behavior, or someone is trying to control us. And we're like, you don't control me, right? And there are things that we are expecting of someone just because they love us, just because we love them, but we never asked them. We never said, hey, I'm going to do this for you. If I need it one day, can I expect it? No, we just do with a silent expectation. I call that an unspoken expectation. And then when someone doesn't meet the unspoken expectation, we judge them based upon what they may have never known to begin with. And even if they did know it, they still have to agree to do it. This is what makes the relational part the hardest part, but I would argue it's the most rewarding part, because when we start to set our expectations in a relationship sense, what happens is not only do we get free, but we start to help others get free. Why? Because we stop expecting things out of them that they, one, may never do. Two, they don't have to do. And three, we let them live the life they feel called to live, and we appreciate them anyway. That's why the relational part, hardest, but the most rewarding.
This book is full of jewels. I haven't even read the entire thing. I went through certain chapters and read, and like I said, I felt attacked in some of it, but
sorry.
Good attack. I felt like you were nudging me to grow. So that's definitely a good thing. I'm encouraging everyone to go out and get this book today. Again, you can find it on Amazon, in bookstores everywhere. Devon Franklin. The last question I have before we get out of here, you talk about the fact that doing the right thing isn't always the safe thing. What exactly does that mean?
Meaning, so let's go back to the relationship. Like, let's just say, you and your mom have a very close relationship, and you start to realize that she has exercised a lot of control over your life, and that you're not actually living the life you want to live. You're living the life she wants you to live. Now, the safe thing is just to get along, do what she wants you to do, continue to make her happy. The difficult thing is to have the courage to say, Mom, I love you, but that's not what I want to do. Mom, I love you, but this is not how I want to live. Mom, I love you, but I've got to go do what I feel I have to do. This part is not safe, but it does take a lot of courage, because when we're dealing with people that we really love and that love us, and our relationship with them is like this, it's all intermingled. It can be hard to have the courage to speak up and say, I don't want to do that. No, that's not what I'm being called to do. I don't want to. And that's the part where the courage comes in. And this is what I would, advise anyone. If you're fearful of having some tough conversations, if you're fearful of actually sticking up for yourself and the life you want, I want you to fast forward to the end of your life. What if you get to the end and you did everything that was expected, but you didn't do what was destined? Can you live with that? And if you can't, then you got to make some decisions right now to do something different to get the life that's destined for you.
You're talking about the end result, so I can't let you go without touching on this. You say in your book not to get addicted to the end result. And that is one thing that's hard for me, because I think that's the thing that keeps me going. I know, and I don't mean my end result, I mean God. So I know what God has promised me. I've seen it. He showed me in visions and dreams. So that's my end result. So that's the thing that keeps me going. That's the thing that wakes me up when I don't feel like doing it, So how can I let go of that and still be, and still feel purpose, still feel driven?
Yeah. Great. So this is a great question. So okay, God. So God gives you the vision, right? Okay, here's the result that God has shown you. Now, here is the danger. We worship the result. We work for the result. We don't actually work for the process. And this is what I mean. It's great to have the vision. Oh, that's exciting, God. Oh, I cannot wait for that to happen. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on what I can control, which is how I wake up in the morning, how I work, my attitude. Because sometimes when we want the results so badly, we then can never find peace in the process. So there's nothing wrong. The result is cool, great. Oh, that's a great result. Oh, I'm excited that that's what's going to happen. But let me not allow the result to create a block for me in the present. The process, the more we control the process, the more we focus on the process, because here's the truth. We don't actually control the result. So I talk about this in the book. So when you plant something into soil, the only part we control, you plant the seed, you water it, you give it sunlight. That's all we control. We don't control the speed at which the plant grows. We don't control the size. All we control is putting it in the right environment and nurturing it every day. The same thing with our gift. We don't control when it grows. We don't control how it grows. But all we got to do is control the process, nurture it, grow it, and also have an ease about it. Because if you're like me, there have been times God has shown me the result. And then what happens is I want it so badly that I'm frustrated in the moment. I'm disappointed. I'm discontent. Why? Because I want it so badly and it's not here. That disrupts the actual ever manifesting. That's a disruption to the manifestation. So part of it is like, okay, let me enjoy the process. And let me, every time I think about what God has shown me, let me use that as a point of excitement, not as a point of disappointment. Say, okay, you know what? Okay, it's not here yet, but it's coming. Great. Instead of saying, oh, it's not here yet. What's wrong? That's when we live free. We live free and say, hey, it's going to happen. It'll happen in its time. And until then, I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to have a great attitude. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to study to show myself approved. I'm going to be disciplined, and I'm going to let what's meant to be happen in its time.
Live free, exceed your expectation. So excited to see what this book does for the world. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. You guys make sure you follow him. His social media is down here below. You can pray with him, as we've all been doing through the pandemic and still currently. Thank you again for your time today.